T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Where my claps at? Hold on, wait a minute now. Hey y'all, welcome to the Shine Your Light podcast. Woo woo woo. I am especially excited to be here with you guys today because of the topic that we're discussing. We are speaking all about mental health, and the benefit of therapy and a whole bunch more things, right, in the Black community. So excited to interview this beautiful guest that you all see on the screen right here. We have the beautiful Shyla Cabell in the building.
Thank you. Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, she's kind of in the building, y'all. She's kind of not, right? She's actually a licensed Christian therapist located in North Carolina, blessing us with her presence today, and is about to teach us a whole bunch. So I'm really excited about it. So thank you so much. Hold on, let me get the hand clap in. But yes, Shyla, thank you so much for being here with us today. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. I want our audience to know a little bit about who you are, right?
Yeah.
So I know you're a wife. I know you're a mom. Can you tell us just a little bit about who you are?
Yeah. So like you said, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a Christian therapist, I'm a community advocate. Goodness, I've been working with kids, families for the past 18 years in some way, shape, or form. Been doing everything from I've been a youth pastor, I've been a teacher's assistant, I've worked for Girl Scouts, I've worked in child welfare, doing things like a service where I was trying to keep children out of foster care.
Wow.
And then for the past 3 years, I have been a therapist.
Wow.
So,
that is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. We thank you for all that you do for the community. So many of us don't realize that most of the things that we go through, most other people are going through the same things. A lot of people are almost like ashamed, when they go through anxiety and depression and all those things, and they don't want to seek help and go to a therapist. But yes, you're somebody that's helping all of us with those things. So we thank you for that. So you actually opened up your own practice, right?
Yes, I did.
What was your vision behind opening that?
So my first essentially 2.5 years in therapy, I was working with other agencies.
Okay.
And so just really feeling restricted with a lot of what I could do, especially being a Christian with those agencies. And so my vision behind opening Zoe was really to give myself the space to move how I felt he wanted me to move with my clients, so that I could really, really bring wholeness. And that's where the name came from, Zoe. It means that God-like life. So I wanted to really, really help infuse that into my clients. And so
I love that.
That's why I moved.
I love it. I love it. So, what are some things that you're really seeing are more so like common issues
Yeah.
within the community?
So, something that I'm noticing that's very common, especially around African American women, which is kind of the bulk of my caseload, is number one, they come to me feeling extremely ashamed that they even had to come to me. So we spend our first couple of sessions kind of just chipping away at that shame and just helping them realize that it is perfectly okay to seek help when you need help.
Right.
Um, if they were suffering with diabetes, they go see a doctor.
Exactly.
If they had a broken arm, they go see a doctor.
Yeah.
And so, with your brain being an organ as well, it can have issues sometimes. And so, there's nothing wrong with going to see a professional
Absolutely.
when that's going down. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. And then my clients, they suffer from just all of the weight from all of the roles they're playing, right? So I have strong women coming to me that are moms, they're business owners, they're supervisors, they're, employees, they're sisters, wives, girlfriends, they're just playing all different roles. And
I think that shame almost stems from, is it society's expectations of us? Like,
yeah.
I think that came from.
I think it's a combination of what society is expecting of us. Black women are seen as strong, and we want to be seen as strong, and
Right.
we are strong.
Right.
However, sometimes we have to realize that we don't have to always be as strong. And when we kind of walk in that role of like being a strong, independent woman, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner
Yes.
a lot. And that's where a lot of that overwhelm comes from, because we're trying to control all these areas. And when things aren't going the way we want them to go, they're not turning out how we want them to turn out. We feel stressed, anxious, and then sitting with that for too long leads to depression.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. And a lot of people aren't even aware of what they're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
What are some symptoms that, that you are experiencing depression? Because a lot of people just, they don't know.
Yeah. So if you're finding yourself like less interested in the things you used to find interesting, so you used to go hang out with the girls, you used to go watch movies with your friends and hang out at your mom's house, and you're not wanting to do that anymore. You're finding yourself wanting to stay at home, or finding yourself not eating as much as you used to, not motivated to do things like taking showers,
Yeah.
brushing your teeth, cooking food.
Yeah.
You're finding yourself feeling extra guilty about things, or really hard to concentrate. Like you're finding that your mind is going blank. You
Mhm.
can't make decisions like you used to.
Mhm.
Those are kind of some major things with depression. And also, a lot of my clients come to me having thoughts of death. And when I say that, I don't mean necessarily like I want to slip my wrist today.
Right.
But I can't tell you how many clients have said to me, they're driving down the street and they think it would be okay if that car slammed into my car. I would be okay with that.
Right. Not
Yeah.
even having a sense of purpose
Yeah.
almost, in
Yeah.
this world.
Yeah.
Speaking of purpose, one of the things that I kind of always like think about is I want to make sure that I'm operating in my purpose, right? Like that's
Mhm.
the whole point of God placing us here for us
Yeah.
to find out our purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that gives us almost like a zeal for life,
For
right?
sure. For
So
sure.
I know the like scientific aspect of, why we need therapy and, the emotional side, the mental side and all of that. But like we spoke about, you are a Christian therapist, right?
Mhm.
Which is something that I would absolutely, require from my therapist, right?
Mhm.
So what are some guidelines almost that you kind of go by when you're operating as a therapist?
So, as a Christian therapist, that just means that that I'm coming from a biblical worldview,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the way we see the world. So I'm coming at it from a biblical perspective, and I'm using all the tools that I learned in school, to treat things like depression and anxiety, and substance use. But we're always I'm always bringing it back to the root, which is looking at the true cause of things, right? So when we see all these things going on with our thoughts, it's like, well, where are they coming from? So
Right.
as a Christian, we know where they're coming from, right? Satan's putting a lot of these thoughts there.
Yes, God.
And so I'm just teaching my clients how to fight the strongest way that they can.
I love that. I love that, Shyla. Yeah, like to me, that's wholeness, that's
Mhm.
balance, you know, not just to have the knowledge behind it, but to have that connection to God, that, you know, just the knowledge of God. You know, so many
Yeah,
of us are lost in this world because we're ignorant to what His purpose is, what His, you know, what His guidelines are for us. You know,
yeah,
we don't know, right?
yeah.
Unless we study His word or unless we have teachers such as yourself out here
Mhm.
teaching us, guiding us along the way. You
Yeah,
know, people like you guide us to the word, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I love that. When I was talking to you earlier, you kept giving like scriptures. You know, do you do that with your clients as well, with your
Oh,
patients?
for sure.
I know you did.
Yes, with my clients, people often ask me, well, how does Christian therapy work? How Christian therapy works at Zoe is I let him move. I let him move. So, um,
Yes.
I mean, I'll literally be sitting with my client and I'll let him know, like, this is what I feel he's trying to say to you right now. And, or we're sitting in session and I'm pulling open my phone. I'm like, let's read this scripture. This seems to like really speak to where you are right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really give him space to move, and he shows up and he shows out.
Every single time. Every
Yeah.
single time. I got to give you a hand clap on that one, Sean. So we spoke about some of the main issues. Well, we spoke about depression as being one of the main issues, something that I absolutely experienced in life, um,
Mhm.
and fought my way through. You know, I didn't have a therapist, but I definitely had the Spirit guiding me along the way, right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
made it without God. So I'm so thankful and I give Him the glory. Another
Mhm.
thing that we talked about, something I've also dealt with, I'm gonna be super honest up here, y'all, super vulnerable, right? Because that's the purpose of our testimonies, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I've also experienced anxiety. You
Yeah.
um, you know, I had a really bad now at this point where I am, I'll go up to a complete stranger, hey, how you doing? You know,
Yeah.
come to my event. But I definitely had dealt with so many traumas in life that it
Yeah.
put me in a very almost caged in space.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was dealing with that anxiety. So you also, you know, help people fight through that as
Yeah.
well.
For sure. Yeah.
What? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, anxiety is probably the number one thing that I see with my clients. Like I said before, anxiety, it tends to lead to depression, but that's the first, thing that they're fighting. And with anxiety, it's just our clients are trapped in thoughts and worries of the future.
Worries. Yes, this is gonna happen. What about this? What is, you know,
Exactly.
what is he saying? What is she saying? Nope.
E-
Shut all of that down.
Exactly.
Focus on what
Exactly.
God is saying about you. I
Exactly.
literally had to train my mind and my thoughts on that. And another thing that you said that was so dear to me is I would have never known someone else was going through that. Someone
Hmm.
else was experiencing that. That I
Yeah.
wasn't alone in that and on that journey.
Yeah.
You you said that you make it very um, you almost kind of normalize
Yeah.
issues when people come to you because they don't realize how potent it really is and how common it is in the Black community.
For sure. For sure. I mean, goodness. In the
Yeah,
Black community, it's what 20 we suffer with things like depression and anxiety 20% more than other populations, so it's
right.
very prevalent.
Yeah,
um, and I think when they just hear that and they hear that, oh my goodness, I am not crazy, like I'm not the lone person struggling,
yes, Lord.
it
Yeah,
just helps to remove kind of some of that stigma
right.
and lift some of the weight off of them.
Exactly. Lift that
Mhm.
weight off and allows them to seek help and welcome the help, right?
For sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in our community, you can contest to this, are they're not willing to receive the help, or not even willing. Um, but yeah, like they
Yeah.
almost want, even if the help is out there, they don't want to accept it.
Yeah, like I can't even tell you how many times my clients have come to me and they've told me, like my family doesn't know I'm in therapy, because they're ashamed, right? Because their family has told them their whole lives, you don't need therapy, just
Right.
pray about it, or be stronger, get over it, and things of that nature. And so they have fought with the idea of coming to therapy typically for years before they actually come and see a therapist.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's, especially with all of the things that we've gone through generations and generations over time,
Yeah,
of course, we need it in the Black community the most. Of
for
course,
sure.
you know,
For sure.
we didn't have a leg to stand on, we had to build things up on our own.
Hmm.
So I really do hope people see that and realize that today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we still deal with so much trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, there's trauma in microaggressions, just like those small little ways that we kind of get pushed to the side or overlooked, you
Mhm.
know. Um, and so dealing with this trauma on a daily basis, it really, really takes a toll.
Yeah. Yeah. When you say pushed aside, are you meaning like in like the workplace type of thing, or
Everywhere,
yeah,
everywhere. I mean, when I was in school, I did research on the racial disparities in healthcare,
wow.
and so there are disparities in how we're treated. And it's not to say that I'm not trying to say that all people that aren't Black are just blatant racist. It's just they have these implicit bias. We all do these small little ways we think about people,
Yeah.
um, typically influenced by like the media and how they portray us.
Right.
Um,
Almost
that
like programming.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so those things just kind of seep out, to where we're not getting the treatment that somebody who wasn't Black would get all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're getting overlooked for certain positions and jobs. Um, we might not be getting into the educational systems that other people that aren't colored can get into because of these small little implicit biases that kind of push us out.
Right. So how would you, as a licensed Christian therapist, how would you tell someone to kind of handle or deal with those emotions if they were going through, something like that?
Yeah. So therapy with me, no matter kind of what you're dealing with, really follows kind of the same steps. The first steps is education. You got to understand, like, well, what does this look like? Whatever you're dealing with, whether it's anxiety, depression, alcoholism, what does it look like in general? And then what does it look like in you?
Right.
Like what's triggering you to want to drink? What's triggering you to feel anxious and want to start isolating yourself? Okay. And once you can realize that, okay, well, let's figure out what are the
I was gonna drop a bomb on that one because a lot of people, hold on, there we go. Because a lot of people don't realize that what it is, that isolation.
Mhm.
How do you only feel safe alone?
Yeah.
And really identifying what that feeling is and putting a name on it, as anxiety or whatever it may be, and getting to the root of it. That's when you can start the healing process, right?
Yes,
A lot
for
of
sure.
people are masking it with, like you said, with alcohol and, other addictions.
Yeah, yeah. Sex, food, social media. I mean, there's so many ways we're masking it. Working, overworking,
Mhm.
all of these things. And so, yeah, we start, like I said, it's education, and then it's what does it look like in you, and what are some tools we can use to fight it.
Right. So what would you say, Shyla,
Mhm.
are some tools that you give to your clients?
Yeah. So I primarily practice as a cognitive behavioral therapist. And so we believe that your thoughts are heavily are heavily connected to how you feel, which heavily influences how you behave. And so my job with my clients is to really, really help them to get really good at monitoring their thought life. And so we look at, how are you thinking and how is it distorted? Are you looking at situations and focusing only on the negative and like discounting the positive aspects of yourself?
Right.
Are you putting labels on yourself when you shouldn't? It's like, I did something wrong, so I'm a loser. It's like, no, could we just remove the label and get some flexibility and some grace in there? So yeah, we challenge those thoughts. We learn I teach my clients how to give themselves grace. That is something I push in sessions. When I hear them speaking harshly to themselves, I stop them and I challenge them to give themselves some grace. And you'll hear a lot of my clients come in and tell me stories about things that went on in life, and they'll be like, but I thought to myself, I need to give myself some grace. And then they calm down a little bit.
Yeah, because that alone lightens the load. You keep speaking about our thoughts, and the Bible talks about, a man is what he thinks he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so powerful how the enemy can kind of come in, right? And combat our thoughts and combat how we think of ourselves and how that plays out in life.
Yeah.
When you're stuck in that negative space, or you don't deem yourself as worthy of love, or you don't deem yourself as a beautiful being, a purpose being, then you almost kind of can take that out on other people, right?
Yeah, for
When you don't love
sure.
yourself properly, how can you possibly love the people around you properly?
For sure.
So if you run into those people who don't realize their worth, what would you tell them as a therapist?
As a therapist, I would really, really, again, have them looking at their thoughts. Like, what are the thoughts looking like that surround your feelings of not being worthy?
Do they have to like almost identify like something that happened in their life, a trauma point, kinda,
They could, but honestly, you don't even have to go that deep.
okay.
You really just need to look at, okay, well, I'm feeling like I'm not good enough. Well, like, what thoughts are pushing you to that point to feel like you're not good enough? Are those thoughts factual? Like, what evidence do you have to support those thoughts? And I teach my clients, like, we're going to put these thoughts on trial. If we don't have the facts to back them up, then we're going to throw them out.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. There were a lot of people, right, who were raised with, their mother and their father. They had a lot of love in their home. They had a beautiful upbringing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't one of them people.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised in survival, right? So I didn't, our mother, my beautiful sister, shout out to Anise. Y'all were really, really good friends.
Yeah.
Love you so much, Minister in Texas. And definitely always a beautiful influence in my life and a light in my life, right? But as far as our upbringing, our mother was so young when she had us, and our fathers weren't in our lives, right? So my mother, she didn't know how to embrace love. She didn't know how to embrace us, and she never, you can ask my sister, she never told us that she loved us.
Wow.
So I remember when I was 18, I just got saved, and I told my mom for the first time, like, I love you. And I remember her reaction. She couldn't get back. Like you too. It was almost uncomfortable to her. Almost, we had to like train her to be able to receive that love and know that it's okay, to be loved,
Yeah.
So what advice would you give? I'm gonna ask you for a lot of advice today, Shyla. What advice would you give to those people who maybe have been raised in survival mode and they're still operating in that space even today?
I would tell them, just like you found the source of healing,
Yes,
th-
God.
that's where they need to go.
Yes.
Because when no one else loves us, He's there.
Right.
He's always been there.
Yes.
And so, if you want to learn how to kind of get out of that survival mode and step into living,
Ooh.
life is only found in Him.
Yes, God. Wow. Oh my goodness. He done sent the vessel, y'all. He done sent the vessel. Won't he do it? And you know what? A lot of times it takes those vessels to, well, honestly, all the time almost, but it takes those vessels to show an example almost of who God is, right?
Mhm.
Because that's who led me to the church. It was someone who was operating as an example of His love,
For
that's
sure.
what led me to the pulpit, led me to getting saved, and then led me to become an example of that love
For
for my
sure.
mom.
For
You know,
sure.
so I see so many young people out here without any guidance, Shyla.
Yeah.
These boys, they building their own families in these
Mhm.
gangs. These young girls that are going to these men looking for love in all the wrong places. I was a
Mhm.
girl looking for love in all the wrong places, Jesus.
Yeah. So was
I
I.
Amen,
Yeah.
amen. But God, but
Mhm.
God. Um, and I'm abstinent now. Won't He do it?
Yes.
Won't He do it? But do you guys ever, because I know you do a lot of community work in North Carolina,
Mhm.
ever set up something that almost draws in the youth? I know you were a youth pastor as well.
Mhm. Well, at my agency, I have some groups that I'm trying to get started for the youth. Anxiety group for teens, self-esteem group for teens. So those are some things I'm doing at Zoe. In the community, I've done a few things over the years. I did start a girls group briefly at my apartment complex,
Mhm.
which was kind of
Wow.
centered around self-esteem and just helping them with all the things that help improve your self-esteem, right? So we were doing some homework help, because if you're not feeling good about your schooling, then your self-esteem is going to suffer, right?
Okay, so what are some things that help you with your self-esteem? Let me get mine up a little bit. What's some things, Shyla?
Figuring out who you are. What do you value? What do you want out of life? What are your strengths, your capabilities,
Yeah.
right? Um, what are some things that you've overcome in life? I love this one activity I do with my clients, which is called I Can Do Hard Things. And I give them what looks like a little kid's coloring page that says, I can do hard things. And I tell my clients, I want you to write on the back of this all of the hard things you can remember you've overcome in life.
Mm.
And then I want you to color it.
You got enough pages for me, Shyla. Keep
I know,
going.
right? Right?
Add some more pages.
Yes. And then I have them color it and stick it on their wall where they can see it. So every time they look at that little coloring sheet, they can remember all the hard things that they've overcome.
Right.
And when you can remember your strength, that's when your self-esteem starts to build, right?
Wow.
Self-esteem is all about getting to know who you are,
Right.
what you're capable of, and just really, really owning it.
Literally retraining, refocusing,
Mhm.
your mind on the things that you're supposed to be focused on. I love that. I love
Mhm.
it. Um, I remember, I'm gonna share a lot of my business on this show.
Go for it.
I remember we went to Cudahy High School, and I remember at this point I was in middle school. You guys are at the high school, but I don't know. Do you remember our apartments in Cudahy? You probably don't remember.
Barely.
Barely? Okay. Across the street from our apartments was like woods almost, like
I do remember that a little bit.
yeah. Literally across the street. And there was a point where they began construction over there. So they shut down, they closed down everything, they removed the fences. And it was just a whole bunch of construction. Now, I was a young girl, I was a very independent young girl, right? Um,
Mhm.
one of those girls that, 7 years old, walking to the bus stop by herself and getting
Yeah.
herself dressed and all of that. So out in Cudahy, when we moved there, I would walk to school, and it was about a mile to school. Typically,
Mm-hmm.
how many people really got that story? We don't walk a mile to school. I was walking a mile to school, y'all, by myself, Lord. So I remember just being tired of walking that mile. I'm tired of walking this mile, right? But I
Yes.
remember looking over to the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see our apartments right across diagonal, so I could go straight and go all this way down and walk that mile, or
Mm-hmm.
I could just cut across, take a shortcut, right,
Mm-hmm.
get to the apartment. I can't really see what's all over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know it looks like a shortcut. So my
Mm-hmm.
little self, right, 4 foot something, 12 years old, maybe 13, I think 12. But I started walking, and all of a sudden I'm knee deep in mud eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I started realizing all these obstacles were in my way, I didn't realize there were dirt hills and all this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
at every single point, I'm like, maybe I should turn around.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just turn around. And I'm like, no, because then I'm gonna have to start all over again and take that long walk. I'm gonna just keep going. So eventually, after climbing those hills, right,
Mm-hmm.
got back to the apartment, and I literally was thigh high, not the boots, um,
Mm-hmm.
thigh high in mud, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember God continuously brings that memory back to me in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we don't want to take the long way,
Yeah.
which is probably going to be the best way for us to go.
Yeah.
We try to take these shortcuts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much trauma and
So
mud
much.
attached to those shortcuts, right?
Yeah. For sure.
So I don't know. I felt in my spirit to share that story.
Yeah.
I feel like therapy as well is a part of doing the work.
It is.
It's a part of taking that long way to victory,
It
right?
is. I
Um,
tell my clients, we're going to put in some mental work.
yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. People just kind of want healing overnight. They want those microwave blessings, but
Yeah.
God doesn't work like that. And when
No.
you do the work, that's when you build the substance that's needed for you to be all that He needs you to be,
Yeah.
all that you need to be in your family.
Yeah.
What would you say, just as a wife and a beautiful mom and all those good things, right? What would
Mm-hmm.
you say some things that, like, how do you implement therapy just like within your family?
I mean, with my family, my husband and I, we try to live a life where we are submitted to Christ.
I know they go to you for everything.
It's funny. Um, my boys are boys, right?
Okay.
And so they're into sports. And my daughter is in an interesting place in life where she is now an adult, but not really an adult. She's 18, So we definitely have good conversations with her. But we just lead by example. We have always taught our kids that God is no smaller in you than He is in us. And so the way to do this thing the right way is to follow Him. You seek Him and you follow Him.
I love it. I love it. We got a guest in the building, y'all. We got a guest in the building. Joining us today, we have the beautiful Monique Simone.
Hello, everybody, and how are you?
I can't wait to hug this woman, y'all. I can't wait to hug her. But Shyla, the beautiful Monique.
It is really
Hello,
nice.
hello.
Yes,
Nice to meet you.
guys, I admire these women so much, y'all. Shyla has always been just an example of to me from afar. I've always just looked up to you, being that little girl, and seeing it's just this young, beautiful woman in front of me. Always kind of just viewed you as such.
I appreciate it.
Truly a light in the world. Right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And then this queen right here has been definitely a mentor, and a light in my life as well, and an example of strength, you know,
Mhm.
an example of pure beauty and strength. Go ahead, scoot over just a little bit so I can get you more in
Which
that
way?
camera. I
This
think you
way?
got to go more this way.
This way.
Nope,
This way.
the other way. Yep. We was gonna figure it out, y'all. You was gonna figure it out.
I'm here, y'all.
Yeah. So we were talking about we were talking with Shyla about the Christian center that she actually opened up, her own therapy center. And so what do you wish to accomplish with that, Shyla?
Oh my goodness, so much.
Let's
I
go,
hope
girl.
I hope to eventually have things going like retreats for couples, retreats for families, where we can just. My emphasis is going to be on restoring families.
I love it. I love it.
Um, so yeah, I mean, lots of stuff. Outreach. I want to do speaking engagements. Just so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you located?
She's in North
North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm so sorry, Charlotte. You were speaking about your family. I was saying that I know they come to you for everything. You're
Oh.
almost like probably like a therapist in the family.
Yeah. So my kids, they like I said, my daughter is the one who primarily comes to us for things. She comes to me, she comes to my husband, and again, we lead with the word.
Yeah.
And that's where life is, and so that's where our advice comes from. And we've just been blessed to have kids that they love God. They're still kids, but they love God. So ultimately, we know, they're gonna come out all right.
You set such a strong foundation for them that no matter what, they're always going to return to that, right?
For sure.
So I love that. That is beautiful, beautiful. Tell us one of your most encouraging stories, right? Whether it was a breakthrough that maybe your clients went through, or maybe you yourself possibly went through.
I think one of my most encouraging stories, which really showed me that alcoholism was the substance that I really, really wanted to work with, was a client that came to me sometime towards the end of last year, struggling with alcoholism, depression to the point of wanting to kill themselves. Um, and it was so serious that I was at the point of maybe saying, you need to commit yourself to the hospital.
Mhm.
And we didn't go that route, but we had to meet twice a week just so I could make sure that they were still here.
Wow.
And this person made such a swift recovery. When I tell you, it was maybe 3 months in, and alcohol wasn't even really a struggle. They had a zeal for life again. And the thought of killing themselves isn't even something they think about now. Even when life gets hard, it's not even a thought.
I love it. I love it. Was even in my space at one point where I didn't know my purpose in life. You knew me around this time, but I was ready to give up on life. But thank God that I didn't, because again, that is the enemy, trying to get you, to give up. And I remember hearing the enemy literally.
Yeah.
Being very open with y'all, but really hearing the enemy telling me, to do it, and all
Yeah.
of the other thoughts. But thank God for people of light being in your life,
Yeah.
and combat that and speak life into you until you're strong enough to speak life into yourself.
Yeah.
Now I do like my wine. Okay. I do
Mhm.
enjoy a glass of wine, maybe a glass of champagne. But how can you identify if it's not, because I don't drink often. Now, honestly, I went 6 months without drinking anything.
Yeah.
And recently I just went back to having a little wine time with the
Yeah.
ladies. But how would someone maybe identify that, maybe this is actually becoming an issue and not just,
Yeah. Not just social.
yeah,
When you see that, like, your life is being altered for the substance, right? So it's like, I'm not showing up like I need to for my kids, for my job, for my friends, like I used to, because I need to drink, or I need to, get this next hit.
right.
I'm not I'm not producing like I need to in all of the roles that I'm playing in life. I'm spending a lot of my time trying to get this substance, using this substance, recovering from this substance. I'm having health problems that are probably caused by this substance.
Yes. People don't
Um,
realize,
yeah,
listen, y'all, if that thing is causing us harm, you know what I'm saying? Whether
yeah.
it be smoking, whether it be, alcohol, intimacy with somebody that ain't your man, Lord Jesus, or
Mhm,
woman, those things are deteriorating to you. The
mhm.
enemy doesn't have to kill you. The enemy doesn't have to hurt you. All he has to do is place those thoughts, in you to cause those emotions and make you do it to yourself.
Yeah,
Well, a
yeah,
lot of people, we're our own worst enemy, you
yeah,
know, and I think therapy just puts a mirror in front of them to really identify what's happening.
yeah, yeah.
Pulls the sheet off the enemy.
For sure. It does. It shines light on that darkness.
Shine the light
Yes,
for that. Look. Okay, so really quick, we have, of course, again, somebody I admire, somebody who I love. Oh, I can't wait to hug her, y'all. I can't wait. The beautiful Monique Simone, who, of course, is a women's empowerment coach. Definitely one of my coaches, and she's also a doula. So, Miss Simone,
Yes, ma'am.
I see firsthand a lot of the things that you do for women. Like I just said, I'm one of them. So, what inspired you to even want to kind of like mentor women?
Mm, Healing.
Yeah.
As I healed, I recognized that I didn't have a mentor or somebody there that can help me identify the tools in me to make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So, we have aunts, we have cousins, maybe they're a little older or whatnot, but a lot of times they're out of touch
Hmm.
with, the way life is changing for, people out here. So I wanted to be able to relate to women in a way where they can understand. So they would, what I mean, want to make the necessary changes because I had people that were like pouring into me and supportive, but I couldn't relate
Right.
because you gotta kind of get down in the dirt with people sometimes. You know
Lord,
what
I
I
was all the
mean?
way
Like
in the
you
dirt
kind
when
of
she
got,
came into
you
my
know what I
life.
mean? Like you kind of gotta they got to be able to relate with you in some kind of way to understand that
Yeah.
you understand where they are, but I'm saying you don't have to be there. You know what I mean? You ain't got to stay there. It's okay to experience this, but experience
Mhm.
move on. We're gonna, you know what I mean, take what we learn from this and use it to our advantage.
Yeah.
We ain't staying stuck nowhere.
Amen.
So because I didn't necessarily have somebody to kind of pull me out, I wanted that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I wanted to be that for other people. And I've always been the counselor, the person that everybody is coming to. I could be in a grocery store and the mother in front of me with her kids is
Yeah.
pouring, her life story out to me in the 5-10 minutes that we're in the grocery store looking for somebody to pour back into her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was easy for me to step over into this lane, especially doing the yoni steaming.
Hmm.
Because I had so many women coming in,
I was
and
one
my
of those
business
women.
couldn't. It
I
it
love
consisted of
yoni
you
steam,
coming in
y'all.
and getting what you needed as far as the yoni steam go. But a lot of
Yeah.
those women needed things outside of that. Like once
Yeah.
you got up off that pot, you needed to be able to go somewhere with these thoughts because that's what
Yes.
we're trying to do. We're trying to release. So now that I've released, now what do I do? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you have a lot of people that can pull you out, but then once you're in that dark space, you got to figure out how to. They didn't pull you to the space like so you can see what the issues may be or whatnot.
Right.
But now, what do you do with that?
Right.
So I wanted to be one of those people that can help you identify what needs to be done so that it can be done so that we can make the necessary changes
Yeah.
to
I
become
love
better.
it. I love it. So, like I said, y'all, I share a lot of my business. All right. So,
And that's okay. We're gonna be transparent.
yeah, it's testimonies.
That's
I'm
what
proud.
helps.
Listen, I walk in my power. Okay, amen. Won't he do it?
You do.
So one of the way that I actually met the beautiful Monique Simone Charlotte is I received a yoni steam. So I remember coming with some friends. We just had our yoni steams. The UHA gets steamed, Lord, all right. Very healthy for the body. all that good stuff. But I felt that there was more to it. I felt this beauty and this spiritual ambiance, if you will, when I was there. And so I decided to come back. She kept encouraging me to come back by myself, like, girl, come back by yourself, okay? So I remember I came back by myself, and I remember she gave me something to write with, and something to write on. And I was sitting on that pot, Lord, with this beautiful ambiance that she done set up, Lord. I don't know if you prayed over the place or what, Jesus, but it was just beautiful, and it was really good energy. And the tears just started to flow. The tears just started to flow, and I just began to write, and it became an outpour. And from that, I don't know if she saw my tears, and after that, we just connected.
It was like when I met you, I knew that this could be a benefit to you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I knew in order for you to get that benefit that you needed, you would have to come by yourself, because in order to experience yourself, you have to be vulnerable.
Right.
And that means you got to be naked. And that's hard to do in front of people when you don't know who you are.
Right.
Ooh, so
powerful.
You just come back.
Yeah.
Sit with yourself. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people have a hard time sitting with themselves. I know.
Right.
And couldn't sit in quiet. Like these things are 30 to 45 minutes. You will be surprised how many women couldn't
meditating.
sit through in 30 to 45 minutes. They be sitting there about 15,
picking
20
up
minutes.
their phone.
And they like, hey, how much time? More time do I have? Are they? Yes, but they can't sit quietly.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't want to sit with their thoughts. And I get it. So, like other yoni places, you can go in with your friends, or you can go in by yourself, but I will go in with you. We can have these. It helped a lot of ladies, and to kind of pull them out of their comfort zone, so that they can. I mean, I want you to be comfortable, but certain things are going to make you uncomfortable, and healing is one of those things. So you got to kind of be naked, vulnerable, and recognize some things with yourself that have to be changed. So
get to the root of the tutor while you're the steaming the. Okay, amen. Want to do it? Amen. So the beautiful Monique Simone is also. I got jokes for days, y'all. But she is also, and I hope y'all enjoy them. She's also a doula. Am I saying it right? A doula. Charlotte, you know anything about a doula?
No, ma'am. I don't think so.
This is the only doula I know, Jesus.
And see, we gotta get the word out there, because we need
So what
them.
is a doula? What is a doula?
It's a birth worker. It's somebody that works with mothers that are having babies as a support, basically. We have you ever heard the saying that doctors are to Black women what cops are to Black men? And so we're walking in these rooms and we're having these babies, and what we don't even realize,
that was powerful.
The numbers are so high with losing Black women in these rooms,
They are.
and we don't know that, but it's because we're not getting the same level of care, and we're not getting the same level of care because we don't have nobody to advocate for us, and we don't know. So we believe in whatever they come in here and tell us, because that's what we've been taught to do.
Right.
The doctor knows. They went to school. Girl, you can't listen to everything these doctors say, because everybody ain't got your best interest at heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes some of this stuff is just going to be textbook, and they're going to go according to what, they believe their protocol is with these textbooks and whatever else. Well, as your doula, I advocate for you. You know what I mean? I educate you where you may not know, like what your rights are.
Especially these young mothers out here.
You
There's
don't
a
know.
lot
You
of
show
young
up in these
mothers.
rooms, no.
I went through everything by
makes a
myself
difference.
with my son. It would have been so helpful to have somebody else there.
Sometimes you meet doctors or nurses that can connect with you, and just have empathy, or are decent human beings, so they'll treat you right. Other times we experience like when we're walking into these rooms and we don't have a dad with us, and we don't have a strong support system or whatnot, and we're just looked at
like me. Yeah.
Like we trashed. We out here we having kids, we can't take care of them. They got a lot
not viewed in the proper light. Yeah.
They're not going to treat you like you should be treated. So as your doula, when you don't have like that support system. Some people do, some people don't. Some people work, some doulas work alongside your family and your with the dad and the mom and the grandmother or what have you. But some of these women don't have people to show up in these rooms with them and hold their hands and tell them everything is going to be okay. Or, that's not good to eat. Maybe you should try this, or maybe you should do this with your baby, or tell you that everything that you choose is, everything that you may want to do is your choice.
Right.
Sometimes the doctors kind of explain things in a manner in which it's kind of like what they say, like this is what you are going to do. This is what will be done.
Right.
And they're not really telling you that you have choices or options.
You're almost like the attorney in the courtroom, advocating for that mother.
Because we need that. Know, we got so many women that are having C-sections that shouldn't. Like, it was no reason why she couldn't have a vaginal birth.
They didn't want to wait.
But they didn't want to wait on this baby to come. Yeah. So you scheduled this mother to be induced, and now she's getting this emergency C-section because her body wasn't ready for this baby to come.
Yeah.
So we're not educated enough in these rooms. So it's just somebody that is here that knows what's going on, that can help support you with whatever decisions that you make. Because these are your decisions, your body decisions.
Absolutely. Amen. Props for my pretend audience. Amen. Won't he do it? So these ladies are literally, educating our women, motivating our women, motivating people in the community. They're literally operating in their purpose, and they're a light in this world. And I just thank you both. I thank you both for it. Doing God's work.
Yeah.
God's work. And I'm honored to be surrounded by them while they doing what they do. Okay. Charlotte, someone wanted to get in contact with you and find out more about your practice and all that you do, and those social events that you have coming up for the youth. How can they get in contact with you?
They can find me on my website, which is www.zoecounselingnc.com.
Okay, perfect. And we'll actually put that information in the comments as well. And the beautiful Monique Simone, if someone wanted you to be their doula, how can they contact you?
My contact information is listed on my Facebook and my Instagram.
Okay. Right, and she's going to be tagged in this. They both will. So you guys can always go to their page as well. So I do want to ask you ladies just a few questions, not too much. I ain't telling no more of my business. All right. Amen. Won't he do it? But what are some things that, just some advice that you would just give to our Black women out here who may be suffering in silence? What's some advice that you would give to them, either both of y'all?
I would say it's okay to seek help.
Yeah.
If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you're just carrying too much, it's okay to seek help.
Yeah, and get y'all a massage, y'all. I got me a massage this morning. It was amazing, right? But all of that is important. Yoni steaming, massage therapy, actual, therapy is all, necessary. Studying the word, being around like-minded individuals, people, being around people that'll pray for you and not talk about you, Lord God, and pray with you, right? Mm-hmm. All important for your well-being, So, do them things. Be mindful of that. What would you tell them, Queen?
Give yourself grace. Powerful. We so hard on ourselves, y'all. Yeah. Like she said, if you're overwhelmed, if you feel like it's too much, get some. It's okay to get some help. It's such a stigma around therapy and therapists and whatnot. Don't listen to these people.
Right.
Go find you some happy. Get you some support so that you can get back to that happy space. Fall back in love with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're no good to the people around you if you're not good to yourself. And a lot of times we be so busy taking care of everybody else around us that we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not pouring into ourselves, getting our massages and taking that me time and just, supporting you.
Right.
How can you expect to be, you know, the best mom or the best friend or
The best
whatever
version
else.
of
Yeah.
yourself. Absolutely.
It's impossible.
I love
Yeah.
it. I look at therapy like the gym for the mind, right? You know
There
what
you
I'm
go.
saying? Like
There
you got to
go.
work it out.
Yeah.
You do?
know? Yes. I love it. Okay, y'all. All right. Anything else, beautiful Shyla, that you want to maybe share with the people just about who you are, what you do, things, impacts that you've made?
Goodness, I don't know. I believe in being real, being genuine,
Right.
and just
I think your clients can feel that automatically,
Mhm.
you know.
yeah,
I think it's hard not to see.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm sure the people want to know, Shada, are you taking clients, honey?
I am. I do still have a little bit of space to take some clients right now.
I love
It's
it.
good to know.
Mhm.
I love it. Okay. And then she's also going to be coming a life coach as well, coming up very soon.
Mhm.
So you'll be
Yep.
able to
So I'll be able to see clients worldwide in that capacity.
Yes, I love that. Yes, I'm definitely gonna be a client. Okay, and then want to do. Yeah.
Can
So,
you ladies be on the lookout because I will be hosting another retreat.
that kind of
Towards the
go.
end of
How
the-
you not gonna say?
Towards the-
You ain't say
we
nothing
didn't get
about.
to that. We never
I
got
ain't
to
asked that one.
We didn't
What
get
are
to
some
that.
things you do to
However,
bring women together?
I host a
I
lot of
done missed the
events, y'all.
question,
I
Jesus.
host painting steps. I host
Yes.
different events, tea time events, things like that that bring women together in a safe space where we can kind of be with other women that we can relate to that may be going through something as well. Some people, everybody going through something, you know.
Mhm.
And so being in a room full of women, you know, in a positive environment, I feel is real healthy. You know, it's just as healthy as finding a therapist.
It
Mhm.
is healthy,
Because our friends and family is not always that healthy when it comes to showing support with different things. And that's sometimes the reason that we stay in the ruts that we in, because we have people supporting that mess.
right.
You know.
That's
Yeah.
powerful.
So yeah, we'll be doing another retreat towards the end of the year because I need a retreat right about now. So
Yes. Let me tell y'all about this retreat really quick, okay? So like I said, I've definitely previously in the past battled with anxiety because of some of the traumas that I've experienced. So this beautiful queen, invited me to the retreat with a bunch of ladies that I don't know. None of these ladies. Okay. None of these women. But I'm also in this journey to fight that anxiety, to push past that fear. And I know, she's a beautiful person. She's a great queen. So, I'm trusting that I'm going to be around other great queens as well. But at the end of the day, I don't know none of these people, okay? I don't know these people. So, me going was honestly me fighting, against that. It was a battle. And I thank her, for pulling me there. And once I got there, I was like, oh, everybody's great. Everybody's amazing.
Mhm.
It was very, like you said, healthy to be amongst these, beautiful grown queens, who could pour into each other. And that's exactly what we did. We learned about so many different things. We enjoyed nature, enjoyed good conversation, good food, and just enjoyed each other. And that was something I never really experienced in my life.
a lot of women haven't. I've been blessed to have really, really good friends that I have been friends with for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get when women be like, I don't have any friends, or I don't deal with too many women and things like that. They be real apprehensive about coming into these settings and being vulnerable and being open and connecting with different women. But I provide a safe space where you can come and you may have been apprehensive to come, but when you leave here, you're gonna leave here feeling better, more comfortable,
and made more friends. Jesus, lifetime connection.
Yes. It's about
Lifetime
finding your tribe, because some of these rooms that we in sometimes that makes us feel unhealthy, like unsafe.
Yeah,
it keeps us from moving on, like
that
from
trauma. If you experience that trauma,
I don't want to be in a room full of women whispering and gossiping and making me feel
Nope,
uncomfortable.
I will not be
And
there.
what have
I will exit real quick.
and it
Like,
won't
God
be
bless.
allowed in these spaces. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like
Exactly.
we are not on none of that.
Yeah.
It's about finding your tribe and connecting to people that mean the best for you. You know.
And it's I trust when those type of people are over those events, because myself, when I do my events and things like that, I don't allow that. You as a queen, she doesn't allow that. So it's, even people who operate it like that, they won't feel comfortable in that space.
They will feel so uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. In
Yeah. And
any
hopefully it
setting.
influences them to change that, because a lot of times it's just that programming. They
Mhm.
may not have known no better. Me myself, I went to 3 different high schools, right? So I was constantly moving around, got to know a whole lot of people, but didn't make those solid connections in high school. Where my sister, my beautiful sister, who is one of your, closest friends, y'all went to school all 4 years together and, built that connection, right? So, some people, they just didn't get to experience that. So thankful for beautiful women around me, that pulled me towards that to say, hey, it's okay. This is a safe space, to be vulnerable. If you need to cry, cry. If you want to be your quirky, funny self, because I think I'm funny. So if you want you want to be your quirky self, we're not gonna judge you, because you're not, exactly like all these other people.
But we can all be judged on something. We all
Amen.
got chapters of our don't want read out loud. So
I be reading a lot of chapters, Jesus.
listen.
I'm reading a whole lot of chapters out loud to the people.
Read them yourself. Nobody can read my book for me. I will read it to you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I'm not ashamed of nothing that I've been through.
Yes,
or
God.
nothing that I may go through. Because it's gonna help and teach somebody, and it's gonna help and teach me. I'm gonna learn in every situation.
Amen. Well, do it. I love it. Do I love her so much, Charlotte?
Yes.
The love and the strength. Amen. Won't you do it? Thank you. Thank you for being a light in my life.
But you have been a light in my life as well. You
thank you, God. Be trying. No.
That the work that God has told me to do. Like
yes.
I'm actually I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing when I get these type of testimonies back that I'm better. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate, what you did. And sometimes it's the smallest things. I don't even be recognizing what I did sometimes,
You listened, you cared, you didn't have an agenda. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just need those type of people around, because that's the type of person that I am. So those are the type of people that I need around me. And I appreciate those people. So ladies, anything else that y'all want to share with the people? Because again, I ain't telling no more of my business today. Amen. Testimony, Jesus.
I guess I will just kind of promote a healing space that I'm creating here in the next week or so. July 8th, I'm starting a group for Christian women who have experienced infidelity in their marriages but have decided to stay. So that'll be a support group, because I have a good amount of my clients that are going through this, and it's very isolating. So I want them to find a safe space where they can find support.
And now, that's a whole nother podcast, Charlotte. Why are you going to bring that up now? We actually just talked about that on my last podcast. My question to you is, would you advise them to stay?
I would advise them to do what God is telling them to do.
Okay.
And
why she the therapist and I'm not.
And go from there.
And I understand that, because you do need to, and this is literally what we spoke about. You do need to be obedient to God, and God is not going to, if God is telling you to stay, he's not going to have you stay in something that's going to continue to hurt you. But he did give you an out. Yeah, exactly.
He may make you stay a little bit so you can get what you're supposed to be getting out of it.
Listen, that's a whole nother podcast, Jesus. But he did give you an out as well. But I I talked about this on the last podcast. It's so crazy. Really quick, y'all. So it was one of the women from Mary Mary. I don't know if you know this, Shyla. One of the women from Mary Mary, her husband cheated on her because she was
On the
abstaining.
road all the time.
She was abstaining. She was mad at him though, and she was abstaining
Mm.
from intimacy.
Was this the one who husband was cheating years ago?
Yeah, I can't think of her name.
Okay, so she
can't.
Can't think of
started
her
back up.
name.
I can't either.
But they were doing an entire podcast. Wait, what? That's another one. We're gonna talk about that. She started back up.
Yeah, because he was cheating when she was on the road years ago.
Wow. Okay. But she said she decided to stay. She was doing an interview and she decided to stay because she know it was wrong of her to abstain, you know, from intimacy with her husband. So for me, yes, I'm gonna take that out. But I do believe it takes a tremendous amount of faith and strength
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
and you know and to work through that. You know, God gives us grace, so we want, you know, to give others grace as well, but it definitely can't be something that is I pray for those women that it's not something that's repetitive,
Mhm.
and they're not being, you know, taken advantage of or anything like that, and those men, you know, have learned their lessons. I actually interviewed 2 men, Shyla,
Mhm.
who both have cheated in marriage.
Oh wow.
Exactly. And one of them regretted it sincerely. And the other one, we still working on him. Shout out to Tyler God. We still working on him. He said he lives with no regrets, Lord. He lives with no regrets. But this has been amazing, Shyla. I want to thank you for all that you do within the community, all that you're doing. You know, beautiful Black queen, started Christian therapist, y'all, started her own center, therapy clinic. Okay,
Do the claps on that.
all of that. Listen, claps and bombs. So we thank you for walking in your purpose, operating in your vision, right, and truly helping the people and being an advocate for so many women that need it, you know, such as myself. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us, Shyla. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Nice meeting you.
Yes,
You as well. You as well.
and of course, yes. Thank you so much to the beautiful Monique Simone,
You're welcome.
women's life coach, friend, doula, and a whole bunch of other things. We appreciate you tremendously. We about to go out to eat, y'all. Yeah, and it's about to be some wine time. So thank y'all so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us on the Shine Your Life podcast. Until next time, y'all, we will see you soon.
Thank you.
All right.